And we are live. Welcome, everybody. We are live on another episode of The People Ask About Web3. And today we have a excuse it for a we are live. Exactly. We are live on another episode of Web3. The people ask about Web3. And today we have a very special guest. And we're going to be talking about something really, really interesting. Another way of approaching Web3 and another way that Web3 is bringing value to users. So today we have Andrew. He is the CEO of Cultos IO. And I leave the floor to you, Andrew, if you would like to introduce yourself and tell the listeners what kind of value you're bringing into the Web3 space.
Hey, Gregor. First of all, super excited to be here. Really appreciate it for you guys having us on the podcast to talk about Cultos. I can definitely give a quick introduction about who we are and what we do. Cultos is essentially a platform which enables any brand, any influencer, any creator to bring rewards, loyalty marketing, and really influencer marketing itself to Web3. So anyone who uses the Cultos platform can launch their own branded token and use it in place of a loyalty point to reward, engage, drive, and incentivize their customers or followers to do pretty much whatever's beneficial for your brand. And so, we're all about taking the amazing community building features that come naturally to Web3 as a technology and bridging them into the different Web2 platforms, products, technologies that brands are using to engage their customers, market to them, keep them loyal as much as possible. So very excited to be here and talk to you more about what it is we're doing.
That sounds super exciting, and I can't wait to get a little bit into more detail about all of the different features that you've just talked about. Before getting there, I wanted to ask you why Cultos.io? Why this idea? Why not something else? Where did this come from? Did it come from an actual business need or a problem that you guys saw actually? Or how did the idea kind of come to life?
Yeah, it's a great question. And so the answer to that really kind of brings me back to early 2021. You know, previously my co-founders and I, we were working on a company called Authenticity, and we were still Web3, so leveraging blockchain tech for very different use case, for supply chain management. So helping manufacturers like Airbus in Europe or GE Aviation or Lockheed Martin build trust and exchange data securely with their network of suppliers, doing things like preventing disputes, giving them better visibility, stuff like that. And of course, the pandemic just kind of threw a wrench in many of the engagements we had, especially aerospace, like supply chains just shut down. But as it turns out, one of our investors had a connection to this amazing, huge toy company called MGA Entertainment. So they make Bratz dolls, LOL Surprise, they're Barbie's biggest competitor. And they approached us and they said, you guys have a blockchain product. We're not really interested in supply chain, but could you repurpose it for social tokens and NFTs? And it turns out, they sell most of their product through third-party distributors, and they have this massively loyal fan base, but they can't engage them directly. And most of their fans are much younger, so like Gen Z, Gen Alpha, kids of a certain age, of a certain demographic. And so they have this dual problem of not having the technology or capabilities in place to engage them directly, get the first party data, actually keep them loyal by being able to have a one-on-one relationship with them. And also the traditional loyalty programs out there just wouldn't cut it from what they'd seen. They're just not oriented towards that younger demographic of Gen Z and Gen Alpha, which is comprised of digital natives. They want different rewards compared to what a traditional loyalty program can offer them, and also want more tangible, real incentives than what a loyalty point is able to offer compared to what a social token or an NFT potentially would be able to offer, especially in the way they wanted to leverage it. So we saw that as an opportunity with our existing team, our tech, this new amazing anchor customer that could bring us into the space, and we built Cultos and kind of didn't look back. Flash forward a year, that toy company invested in us directly. We have this really cool mobile game. That's the first of many engagements with them launching next year. We're super excited about, and we have some other amazing investors and customers also joining us on the Cultos journey, including an NBA team, the San Antonio Spurs, after their owner Peter Holt invested. So, yeah, that's kind of the genesis of Cultos and how we got to where we are.
That is a super exciting background. It started, the best companies start from an actual business need. And when they find a partner that can bring them towards their customers, they save a lot on basically just having to find the users and the adopters of their platforms so that they can actually focus on the technology.
Absolutely,
Uh,
exactly.
and it is also really great that you guys used a team previously that already worked on something and that started working on another project. So you guys had experience working together to build this other uh, opportunity. Would you like sharing any other information regarding your team? Why are you guys together and building this?
For sure. So my co-founders and I have known each other for quite some time. We're all Forbes 30 under 30, all super interested in and passionate about the Web3 space in general. We were all EIRs at the venture arm of General Electric back when they had a venture arm. That's what got us into the previous company of Authenticity in the supply chain space. So we worked with each other for a long time. We work very well together. We're all super immersed in Web3 and have been for a while. And like you said, that background, that experience, and that trust between us and our other team members was really key when it came to building Cultos and getting it to where it is now. And of course, it definitely helped that we had team members that are very immersed and very technically proficient with Web3, because obviously that's not a common skill set. So that really helped us out too.
So before getting into like some questions like how do you guys get about onboarding new users into Web3 and understanding a little bit more of the features, I have a burning question. How do you become a Forbes 30 under 30?
You gotta be proposed and recommended, and then you have an app. You either submit an application yourself or someone else does it, and then from there it kind of goes into a bit of a black box, and I don't know what they do, but somehow they saw our application. I guess someone who vouched for us or said, yeah, see, I can be a reference for these guys. Was seen as very credible by the committee or whatever it is, and they liked us, and all of a sudden we were on the list. So it was pretty cool when that happened.
That is awesome. Congratulations to you guys. So back to our topic. How do you guys get people on board, and how do you guys get about solving the problem of educating people about Web3? I mean, to get into Web3, you need a wallet. You need to learn a different kind of vocabulary. All of that might sound kind of new and strange. Uh, Maybe for a later generation. Are you guys experiencing this same issue with Gen Z?
So that's probably one of the most important points about what we're doing. I would say, how do we make the product as easy to launch with and understand as possible, especially for people who aren't into crypto or into Web3 already. So our whole strategy is really about ensuring that as much as we possibly can, all those things you mentioned are kind of hidden away from the consumer. So, like the wallet, for example, and the way Cultos works, we generate custodian wallets so that if you're a consumer and you sign up through our customer's e-commerce site where we're installed as a widget, or maybe our customer's mobile game where our API is integrated into it, you don't need to know about any of that stuff. You can sign up using an email, a password, and we just generate a wallet for you on the back end. That's pretty much it. The other key thing is making sure that the value prompts are conveyed as clearly as possible and don't just rely on crypto jargon, especially in today's environment where real value is more important than ever. So for a consumer, what we try to get across is um, this is a way for you to be compensated more fairly by the brand for several different reasons, right? Like one is for giving over your first party data. You get tokens in exchange for doing that. Another is for helping the brand to either drive more revenue or grow their base of customers, whether that's from you buying products from the brand or promoting the brand on social media to your own friends and followers, which might lead to the brand getting new customers. You're compensated for all of that with these tokens. And why are these tokens, superior or more beneficial to you as a consumer compared to a loyalty point? Well, we would say there's three reasons. One is interoperability. So without getting too technical, if you have a brand token, as a consumer, you have full freedom with it. You can turn it into any other brand's reward token and access their rewards instead. With a loyalty point, usually you're just confined to one brand. You got to keep spending it on that same brand. The token, you have full freedom to convert it into any other brand's rewards. It's totally up to you. And you can also liquidate it, right? You can turn that token into, well, first the Cultos Coin, which is our project's native token. But we have a token to allow consumers to off ramp into either fiat or crypto and cash out ultimately when we want to, because our project's token is going to be listed on an exchange sometime early next year. And so if you have brand tokens, unlike loyalty points, you can actually cash them out. You turn them into the Cultos Coin, you withdraw it to an exchange, you cash out there. You can actually you can realize, the real economic value of what you did to help make that brand successful. And so ultimately, these are much stronger incentives and benefits for the consumer. And that's something that's very easy for someone to understand, right? I can turn my loyalty points into any other brand's loyalty points and I can cash them out. And ultimately, that's what we try to convey to the consumer. And the tech just makes it as easy as possible in the way that we build the product.
So it becomes like an asset, basically. Your loyalty brand points are an asset right now. They are not just kind of yours and yours alone. And if you don't want to use that brand anymore, or just kind of leave them in your wallet accumulated, you can't do anything with them. But you can actually, in this case, convert them into actual money or sell them to somebody that might be interested.
That's right. You can convert them into actual money, or if you don't like this brand's rewards, you can off ramp, if you will, into another brand's rewards and access those instead. So you're not just stuck with Walmart. You can also, be rewarded by Nike or Adidas, even if that's not the tokens you started with. You can off ramp into there, and that's kind of the whole ecosystem we're trying to build out.
So how do you guys operate? Do you guys work on a B2B approach? I imagine you guys look for different partners or companies that have loyalty programs, and you offer them Web3 loyalty programs.
Yeah, it's a good question. So definitely a B2B, but also there's a third step. It's to C. So to B to C is really kind of the way it goes, right? Because first you got to get the brand, and then you work with the brand to market this to their consumers, and ultimately they're the ones who engage with this loyalty program and sign up. And the consumer response is what's going to dictate, from the brand's perspective, if this is actually working or not. So our approach is to contact the brands directly and leverage them as a channel to get us to their consumers. We're also there's several different product strategies we have for that. One example is an e-commerce integration we're pushing out this quarter with Shopify. So now any brand that uses Shopify for their e-commerce site can install Cultos with just a couple of clicks, a single line of code, and all of a sudden they can launch their own reward token, create rewards, and their consumers can just land on their website and start engaging. They can just sign up right there, get a wallet, start earning tokens through the various ways the brands want to incentivize. And the other way is through an API that we provide. So any brand that has maybe a mobile app or a mobile game or a custom e-commerce website or a point of sale experience, they can integrate the abilities of Cultos, so wallet creation, rewarding users with tokens, creating the token to begin with, creating NFTs as rewards into whatever it is they want that to be injected into. And they can consolidate all that omni-channel data, online, in-store, mobile, social media, back to a single wallet for each consumer, which is a super valuable thing that isn't commonplace with pretty much any other Web2 loyalty program out there. So it's a huge advantage for them.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. Also, how you guys made it pretty seamless, and also by going together with partners, go together on market on platforms like Shopify, where you're a plugin for everybody that is using Shopify. It's a great way to reach audiences, and also making the experiences as seamless as possible. It's a great way to onboard new people that also might not really know about Web3, and it's not in their interest to go looking for Web3. What are the next steps for Cultos.io right now?
So next steps are for sure just pushing out that e-commerce integration and then moving on to the next ones. I mentioned a key strategy is bridging what we offer as Cultos as a Web3 product into Web2 to make it as seamless as possible. So future e-commerce integrations you might see, Salesforce Commerce Cloud, BigCommerce, WooCommerce, just ensuring that any brand can get started with us as quickly as possible and with as much ease as we can provide. The other, next step that we're very excited about, and I wish there were more details I could publicly announce, would be the launch of that mobile game with MGA Entertainment early next year. We're super excited about that. They and us working with them have plans to build a whole ecosystem and metaverse around that, which might involve an integration of some kind between what we're building with this toy company and where their customer base already lives, like Roblox, for example. So I'm looking forward to being able to share more details about that in the future. And in addition to that, we got to make sure that one of the key value propositions of our product is working, because that's one of the main draws for consumers, right? Like the ability to actually cash out their reward tokens into real money, if you will, or other cryptocurrencies. And so to do that, we've got to have the Cultos token live, and we're targeting early next year to do that. So that's a key milestone for the product that we're very excited about too. So looking forward to being able to share more details on all of that.
Awesome. Well, a few questions about, maybe if you can share a few details about the token, such as maybe on what blockchain it is, any information regarding the exchange where it will be listed, if there will be staking or anything, if there is already a tokenomics that is written in a white paper that can be shared, and so forth. Any information would be really cool.
Yep, absolutely. So our product the platform is built on Polygon. That being said, the Cultos coin itself is an ERC20, so that way we can actually list on the exchanges. And we have a bridge between the brand tokens, which are Polygon tokens, and the ERC20 Cultos coin, which will be listed on the exchange. We plan to list on two centralized exchanges next year. We may list on a DEX, we may not. We're kind of going through the final considerations for that approach. And I wish I could share an exact listing date, but I can tell you it will be sometime in Q1, and we will of course share the exact date and time once we know for certain when we want that to be. In terms of tokenomics, we'll have a white paper that will be shared over the next few weeks. But I can tell you that every brand that we launch with and creates their own reward token, all of the different transactions that result from that, consumers buying reward tokens like airline miles, or converting one brand's token into another to access different rewards, or cashing out, all of those generate transaction fees, which boost the Cultos coin in value. But in essence, all of that will be explained in greater detail in the white paper once that's released.
Cool. Are you guys planning on a airdrop, or are you guys building a community around the launch of the token?
Absolutely. So for anyone who wants to join our community and receive airdrops of Cultos coin, our Discord community is live. I believe there's a link on our website, cultos.io. And we are beginning to run, I think, weekly competitions where, by completing certain tasks in the community and on social media, you can actually get airdrops of Cultos coin immediately right now. So that's, I believe that's already started, and the Discord link should be on our website for anyone who wants to find it, join the group, and stay tuned for what comes next.
That's very cool, because many projects that create a token don't really have great utility behind the token. A token is just created just because it is a Web3 approach. But you guys have given a real utility to the token, so that's why I think it makes it very interesting, and it gives it a real Web3 purpose and a real need to exist. Great. I wanted to ask you, just maybe doing a step back regarding what you guys are building. I wanted to ask you if you have some use cases on how companies right now are using your product, and if you can go into a little bit more detail about how it gets in front of the consumer, and what are the steps that the consumer does to kind of use. You mentioned it a little bit, but if you can just provide a use case of a business and an industry.
Yep, absolutely. So two examples I can give. One would be with an enterprise use case with the toy company we're working with. And then the second would be, how an e-commerce brand uses Cultos and what the steps look like there end to end. So starting with the enterprise use case, we're launching a mobile game with them next year. It's built on the Cultos platform. The way the game works is, parents and their kids sign up on the mobile game so that it's compliant. It's compliant with the data laws for kids, and then the parents purchase tokens from the brand, just like kind of like purchasing airline miles. If your viewers are familiar with that use case, and then the parents create tasks for the kids to do. So things like, do your homework, be nice to your siblings, do your chores. And then if the kids do them, they get the tokens for performing the task. So it allows parents to essentially bribe the kids for good behavior, which should be pretty effective. And then the kids can spend those tokens in app on products, right? So on toys, physical toys, maybe in the future, digital toys, or things of that nature, digital collectibles. And maybe also products from partners from within the MGA metaverse or ecosystem, if you will, companies they already work with, which we're pretty excited about. So that's one example of how the Cultos platform can add the capabilities we provide for creating wallets, creating tokens, rewarding users into any application that an enterprise company wants through our API. The other way would be through our e-commerce integration, right? So how that works is we work with a brand. They install the Cultos widget on their Shopify website. That can be done with a single line of code. They set up campaigns. So basically they decide, what do I want to reward my customers with tokens for? And it really just depends on what they want to incentivize, right? So that could be things like when my customer posts a picture of my sneaker company's shoes on Instagram or TikTok, give them some tokens for doing that. Or when they come to my Shopify site and buy my sneakers, give them tokens for doing that. Or if they, scan a QR code in my sneaker store in person, give them tokens for doing that. And you're doing two things with that. One is you're incentivizing all the right things from your existing customers, whether it's referrals or repeat purchases, and you're also incentivizing them to give you their first party data in a way that compensates them fairly, right? Because they're getting these tokens in exchange for doing that. And all of this data from commerce, online and in person, from social media, is being associated with their wallet. And then for a consumer, once those campaigns are set up, they land on their favorite brand's Shopify website. They see the widget pop up in the bottom right corner. It tells them what this is. They sign up. They immediately get a wallet. They add their social media profiles, and they start performing, tasks according to the campaigns the brand set up to get those tokens. Whether it's buying products, making referrals in social media, attending, events or engagements in person, whatever it is the brand set up. So we try to keep it as straightforward as possible. And ultimately, when it's time, if the consumer wants to, they can turn their brand token into the Cultos coin and then just withdraw that to an exchange and cash out into whatever it is they want to cash out into. And that's kind of the full breadth of how a brand or a consumer could get started with Cultos.
That's great. It's a Web2 model transformed into a Web3 approach by adding even more utility. So that gives it great reason why companies should switch from Web2 to Web3 to gain more value. Now, just a general observation on the market. So everybody knows that there has been a lot of bad things happening in the crypto market, and the latest is the FT collapse. So based on all of kind of the negative things that are happening in the market, and since you guys are positioned so strategically that you have reached to many companies, are you seeing a increase in the request for this kind of services? Are the customers afraid of what is happening, or maybe not really, or kind of people are still experimenting and proceeding as previously?
From what we've seen, the companies that had already been educated and already decided they want to do this, I think mainly because they probably have a customer base that either is composed primarily of a younger demographic, so Gen Z or Gen Alpha, and they know this will trend well with them, or they're trying to target the demographic. Those types of leads that come in, nothing has changed with them. They're still very interested. They want to move forward. The companies that were interested in making $1 million overnight from NFTs, they're gone, right? Like they're fully out. And companies that were curious but didn't really know that much about Web3 or crypto and kind of wanted to learn more. Some are still there, but it's certainly reduced, right? So I think ultimately what I'm trying to say is this market kind of forcibly separates the wheat from the chaff in a way, and we're very lucky in that we're well capitalized and we have the dry powder to kind of weather out the storm. But I think it's a good thing ultimately from the perspective of the consumer, because the companies, hopefully like Cultos that weather through this are going to be the winners once the market rebounds. And that's ultimately a good thing overall. The FTX thing isn't great, but luckily we're in a position where we have customers that are already fully committed to this direction, and so we're positioned very well to kind of take advantage of the market, if you will, over the next couple of years. Even though it's definitely not a good example of Web3 what happened with FTX for sure.
Very, very, very well said. It is a really good thing that right now the market gets cleaned out a little bit of companies that don't have a solid business standing and don't have a clear value proposition for customers. Andrew, this has been really interesting. Thank you so much. I want to ask you one final thing, and that is, I want to leave the floor to you. I want to ask you if there is anything that you would like to share with the audience or with anybody that is listening to us that we haven't talked about. Anything at all.
Yeah, I would just say, as kind of a parting point, we'd love everyone in your audience who's interested in what we're doing, who believes in what we're doing, to, please join our community. We'd love to have you. And so, like I mentioned before, if you go to cultus.io, there should be a link to our Discord group on there. And as soon as you join, we're running different campaigns, games, events, and there will be many opportunities for you to be rewarded with the Cultos Coin, and we'd love to have you guys. So, I appreciate you bringing me on your podcast. It was great to be here, and I hope it was informative or somewhat entertaining for anyone who was listening.
Awesome, Andrew. Thank you so much. I wish you guys all the best. I will be joining. I want to get my hands on a little bit of Cultos coin.
Awesome.
So you never know. Some coins they're going to be 700x in a little bit. Maybe this is going to be one of them. So
Maybe.
Exactly. But well, it definitely has the requirements to be a great project. So really, guys, thumbs up. Great job on what you are doing. Great job on picking this value proposition and going into this approach. Gifting, I think it's or kind of loyalty gifts. It's a great way of introducing people into crypto. Why? Because they're getting stuff for free and they're getting value from already something. So they don't have to invest into anything. And how you're making it seamless, that's even greater. So Andrew, thank you so much one more time, and thank you everybody that is listening to us, and I will see you in the next episode.
Thank you, Gregor. Great to be here.